Hey guys, welcome to another great episode here of Boll Raw. I'm here, Gary Otto, with Dr. Boll. Welcome, my friend.
Hi, from the rainy, cloudy, snowy Germany. And we went for a day to Strasbourg. I posted stuff on Instagram and some nice photos. It's like when you go to Strasbourg in France, it's really like you dive into the medieval times back. It's like that old city looks really like you can shoot any period piece there. And that's nice for a day out. Then I send around a lot of articles about filmmaking in regards and stuff that I was reading about how hard it is to make movies and the success.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we
So
were talking about that and we're going to get into that really quick. But first, we should get into the number one topic of the hour, top of the news. Daniel Stern from Home Alone was arrested for soliciting prostitution yesterday. Can you imagine if you were a young 20-something-year-old girl standing on the street corner and you are trying to pay your bills and then you end up fucking the burglar from Home Alone? Can you imagine what the hell that's like? It must be traumatizing.
but did you remember Hugh Grant? He had the same thing where he had to do the pep walk to the police. So, but what actually happened? So he stopped with the car, she got in the car, and she was a cop, or was it how they
Uh,
arrested him?
he went to a hotel and apparently it was a sting operation
Hmm.
and they gave him a citation. They didn't even arrest him, probably because they're big Home Alone fans. I don't know.
And now Joe Pesci was in the car waiting for him. So
Yeah,
I
you
don't
never see fucking Joe Pesci doing this shit.
know about Joe Pesci now. I mean, how old is Joe Pesci now? 70?
I don't know, but Joe Pesci dated he once dated what was that chick? The black model. He's gotten some pretty good tail in the past.
Naomi Campbell? No.
Yeah, Naomi Campbell.
No. She's like
Yeah.
but she's way taller as him. Like she's like,
Yeah, that's the
can not even
90s,
imagine.
man.
I have to,
Crazy.
no, I do a check. Did Joe Pesci dated Naomi Campbell? They were photographed together as a couple in late 1998, attending events at each other's date. I mean,
I
how the
told you.
fuck is that even possible with Joe Pesci? Maybe she loved Goodfellas so much that she she went for it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very possible.
yeah. I mean, uh, going back to the independent filmmaking, the articles I felt they were very interesting because they had some data compiled, and I felt one specific element very interesting in that article. I mean, they had only like sales numbers from 120 independent movies, not more. So it's not like these articles could represent the full picture of making movies, right? But I think what they put very good together is this name elevator movie, you know?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's talking about like if you don't get on at the very bottom floor of the elevator, which
Yeah.
is like the distribution totem,
Yeah.
if you get on at the middle and they already know who you are and you've already given an impression of them, there's either an all or nothing attitude. Either you're like Steven Spielberg or you're absolutely uh, like a one
Nobody.
100,000 plus IMDb star meter, nobody's ever heard of you person before that they can kind of shape up into,
Yeah.
the A24 awards winner, etc. Um, but it also feels equally soulless because it kind of depicts A24 as this like fake. Um,
Indie.
it's like
Indie company.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not quite real in independent.
No, and it's not independent. What I think A24 and Neon were both pumped up with hedge fund money and venture capital, uh, like new Miramaxes. Like they were basically in the time where you had like in earlier years where you had like Fox Atomic or you had Searchlight pictures from Fox or you had like this production companies like Spyglass. Like they are from this era reinvented now with VC capital, and they're not making small movies. They're basically making the same movies as the streamers do with the same budget and the same stars, and they only try to make better movies, bigger movies. And I think that's their strategy. I think so that interpretation was wrong. What I felt was, besides both articles showed, of course, like how shitty it is, the film industry right now in general for independent filmmakers. But there was one thing I really thought about it because it has a direct impact on my decisions, what kind of movies or what movies I do, is they basically say if you don't have a real big star, then it doesn't matter if you have any real name in it. So they basically say when you're better off doing a movie for 500,000 bucks or 400,000 bucks with just good actors who all play for scale as to pay half-as prominent actors way more money as scale, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah, it says right here, it says like one factor is uh how famous is your cast, and to have some metrics by width to measure how famous, well recognizable the cast of a given film was. We had respondents tell us of the current rank of their most well-known cast member on the IMDb star meter. And it says, how does having at least one famous cast member affect the likelihood that a film will break even, make a profit? And it says here that people on the IMDb star meter from 1 to 100, 33% of those made a profit, while 66.7 did not. People on the IMDb star meter from 401 to 3,000, 8.3% made a profit, while 91% didn't. So it looks like if they're like B or C level celebrities, that doesn't make as much.
they
And
don't move the needle. But I mean, what they should write also is, to be fair, is they should say you will not get an actor who is in the top 100 of IMDb. I mean,
of course not.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the thing, right? So they basically say if you don't get Matt Damon or Brad Pitt or this kind of Chris Hemsworth, all these names who are in the top 100, then you're toast. But why they should play in your movie what you want to do for 500 grand, right? So they will not burn their names or their quality. So of course you're stranded with actors who are known but in a way now not really busy or not really rich, and they say okay, better I get 40,000 bucks for this indie film in comparison to I get nothing, right? So, and but I agree with, look, we have to say it brutally with Run, right? Run has really good cast and has a lot of name actors, but they didn't move the needle. They didn't brought us. I mean, the good news is Paramount Plus bought Run now, so it will be on Paramount Plus. But it's, as you know, we don't really want to say the number, but the number was so fucking low that it's like disgusting and an insult. That's the reality. But in the very end, it's the only SVOD deal we got, and
Well,
that
the fact of the matter is, Run will, when once it hits that, it's going to give you great publicity, great traction. But what good is it if you aren't earning a dollar off it?
Yes,
You know?
it should be at least if they make like very let's, and it's not Paramount alone. All of them are like this. They lowball every indie producer. They don't pay fair, and I think at least you should get bumps if you reach the audience, right? So let's say Run gets loaded up and is in the same top 10 lists a long time like First Shift was. So then why I should not get extra money? That's
Yeah.
the thing. It would be only fair to say, look, if you're 10 weeks here in the top 10, then obviously 20 million people watched you, and then we pay you another 100 grand. Something like this. What is still bad pay, but it's still like it would be something. But to say we make a flat deal, take it or leave it, and they know the desperation of indie producers. I think also when I see this, I mean, because I'm an insider and I'm an indie producer, so when I read that articles, I'm always very interested in this. But I think the data they got, they didn't get the real. I think it's way worse as they write here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like basically 80% of the indie movies always don't break even. 80 or even 90%. So I think that's more realistic. And
Yeah, this article makes it sound like if you self-distribute, that's your best bet to break even. But at the same time, how big will your market be if you self-distribute a movie? You're kind of like held hostage by a, a major distributor, you know? The
no, and they
decision to
also
self-distribute is coupled by building team to design the film's release. So that's like advertising. Uh, it's all this stuff that we can't afford.
No, and that's the thing. It's like self-distributing means you have two options, right? You travel to every single venue they show your movie, and your travel costs are the same as your income from the movie theaters, right? So it's basically you put all your work out for free and you exchange money. You have 20 people here watching it, 20 people there. So if you put your movie just up, as we saw with Run, if you just, that was self-distributed in most of the countries, right? And it's completely senseless. I mean, that's before we did that was Run, I was kind of excited about it because, and you remember we talked about it even in Overboard Raw about it. Like, what is if it works? Then you never need distribution companies in between. You never need to give a cut to a distributor because then you're loading the movie up worldwide in 100 countries on Apple, Amazon, Google Play, and some others. And then the money comes in. But Run proved that even with a good movie, it didn't work this way. It didn't came in. The money didn't came in. Wait 1 second. I have to close here the door. Messi, bleib, bleib, bleib,
I,
bleib, bleib.
I think honestly, it's because of advertising. I think that if more people knew about the film,
Yes.
more people knew that it existed, a lot of people would be curious. I think that it's still not too late. I
No, no,
think
but
there's
I
a
still I
potential
do.
market out there.
No, and I think the real chance now with Paramount Plus is, of course, that then other countries would, if we they are in the rankings, similar to First Shift, we will sell it in other countries also to maybe to Amazon or Netflix, right? So that they say it works at Paramount Plus in the US, why we shouldn't buy it for Europe, you know? So and that's what my hope is. But the problem with the advertising, I completely agree, but if we would spend $1 million on Run pushing it, I bet there would be way 100,000 people would watch it, right? But if we spend 10 grand, it would not move the needle. So, and that's the problem, right? The amount of money you have to spend now on social media and everywhere to move the needle to get people really excited about something because the competition is so big and the money spent online is so big that's the problem. All what you need is, I mean, for future things, if we do 23 years later, the Return to Zombie Island, if we do this, then the key is also there to get some influencers in the movie. That you get like traction. I mean, House of the Dead will get traction. It's way easier to market 23 years later as a Run. That's crystal clear. But still, that movie also will not have $1 million cash in advertising. It will have less money in advertising, no matter what, right? So, and I think
Hey, if you want social media influencers in the movie, is that what you just said?
yeah, I think but why not as zombies? If we have Jake Paul as a zombie running amok, as an no, but I mean that's the thing. But why not? I mean, in a movie, what is kind of tacky, cheesy, sexy,
Yeah.
bloody. You can have influencers um, testing out their acting skills and having fun on set. And of course, we're not interested in just having an influencer running around with a machete. We have these influencers would be indirectly our whole advertising campaign. If they Twitter around, I was in the best zombie movie of all times. watch it, and you have somebody who actually has 40 million followers and not fake followers, like real followers, um, I bet the results in downloads are a little different as with Run, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I think that it wouldn't be that hard to get some of the influencers on X,
Yes,
like Justin Wang or etc. These people, they have big followers. They would look good
yes.
on screen.
Yeah, you can put the ask a few, right? So you can start asking a few. I will check out, and there could be, of course, there could be people like models, then male guys more like this kind of, survivor, fitness gurus, this
And
kind
funny
of people.
guys, funny people,
Yeah, or comedians, who have fun acting in something. I mean, that's the good thing that the whole setup is similar to House of the Dead 1. So we basically really have a lot of improv possibilities too. And we are not like, if we have a lot of like, let's say a lot of people want to be in it, then why not? We extend the party on the island, and it's not 10 people anymore. Now it's 30 people. But it doesn't really matter, because you create, then you expand the audience with it. And I think that's the idea. So,
I
but what
think
I
that
not
was one of the funniest parts of the original House of the Dead was that the rave was supposed to be this massive island-wide
yeah, yeah,
rave,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there
And then we
was
had
like
like 100
50 people.
extras.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know, but extras cost money, right? So so we had to be budget wise. There were restrictions to it. But yeah, and I told you before, I just got the rough cuts for First Shift 1 and 2, 2 and 3. I didn't watch it so far. I waited a long time. The only thing what I saw is that the first episode is already 115 minutes long, what I didn't expect it. But of course, we will thin it maybe a little out, cutting it a little down. But we will not have a problem to have two 90 minutes new episodes. And this week also, I finally got an answer from Paramount Plus, from the new people, that they will watch it as soon as it's finished. And that's good.
Oh,
Yeah, because that was the
wow.
whole time. My problem was the whole time, like, nobody answers. We don't know what's going on. We had a hit on Paramount Plus. They should be interested in First Shift 2 and 3, but we had no idea. Like, I mean, we had nobody. And now they finally answered and said, when the movies are ready, we watch them. That's very good,
I
right?
think that's a
Because,
great compliment because they're in the middle of an acquisition. It's very rare that a company will do movement, like you said, only on the Tyler Sheridan kind of big cream of the
yeah,
crop stuff will they move money during these acquisitions where they want to try and show, that they have a good bottom line, they have a good foundation. They don't want to greenlight anything new. So
yeah.
good for you, man. That's great news.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, for me, it was always like, if they don't buy it, it would make no sense. I mean, you cannot have a 20 weeks top 20 hit, and then they have no interest in getting more of this product. I mean, that's completely absurd. And it would be a hard sell to other streamers, because they would say, why they don't buy this? uh, that would be totally absurd. It's like you air Stranger Things, you have a huge hit on Netflix, and then you cancel it after one episode, and you never follow up. I mean, it doesn't make a logical thing is that they 100% buy these two movies. The question is only for how much. That's basically, for me, the logical thinking. But a lot of things in the film industry are unfortunately not logical, and a lot of shit gets greenlit where they later don't know who greenlit it, and then it's there. And that's the thing. It would be also unlogical for Lionsgate not to finance 23 years later. It would be completely idiotic not to do it, because we're not asking for 25 million bucks. That's the thing. It's like a cheap movie to produce. It piggybacks on the other House of the Dead movie, and it piggybacks on our House of the Dead movie, and it will 100% work. There
Yeah,
is
horror
no,
is hot right now.
yeah, and there is no
Um,
way that people will not watch that movie, and people will even in the theaters, I think, watch that movie.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah, and
so
the theaters need all the movies they can get right now.
yeah, it's also way easier now to get screens because there is nothing, right? So I mean, that's what the AMC bosses said, the Regal bosses. They said we cannot live on this franchise movies alone. You know, you need that second tier movies. What was in earlier years, every week you had five Halloweens, or five, you had different independent movies, Oscar runners and horror movies, and a John Carpenter movie, and then a Joe Dante movie, and then whatever, right? So and then the Martin Scorsese movie. You had all this stuff. There was a more vibrant releases of bigger independent movies or independent or genre movies or horror movies. Now there are these total fake theatrical releases where nobody reacts to it. You know, where you have like what they did was with First Shift. You had two screens, right? So you have tons of this kind of releases where it's not a release. You're in the release calendar, but it's all bullshit. They're renting five screens. So that you have
Hey,
en
I have a
masse.
question for you actually on that
Yeah,
subject before we
yeah.
move on. Citizen Vigilante. Which cities, people have asked me this question, which cities are we premiering the film
Yeah,
in?
that's
Like
the thing.
obviously
What
New York, LA, right? But
Yeah, I know. And then right now it looks like only New York, LA. Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and that's bad. I will try to convince Quiver to do it bigger, to go a little wider because they will get screens. And now with the DCP, it doesn't cost a lot of money to deliver to Houston or to Miami the film, right? It's not like you have to ship a 35 millimeter print and spend $2,500 for the print. So it's so much cheaper. And if the with a kick-ass poster, and I mean we're working on the trailer. Trailer will come up soon. So then we have the trailer. So and then with all the PR, I got maybe we're getting in a film festival in LA in April. What then we can use also as a press day with Army Hammer and stuff for interviews, right? And as I said to Quiver the whole time, Army Hammer is not James Russo. Or, like Army Hammer wasn't canceled, but he comes back, but is an A-list star. He is a leading man, right? He has the same qualities like Glenn Powell, whatever, Brad Pitt. He has the same kind of qualities and aura. So you get him in Entertainment Tonight. You get him in Kimmel. You can get him in real talk shows, in like network shows, if it's really promoted like his comeback.
Yeah.
But there we're back at the indie film market, where a company like Quiver is not A24. They don't sitting on like millions to promote this shit out of a film, right? So, and that's the thing, but they have to be careful. But at the same time, if you never try it, you will also never have a breakout hit.
Yeah.
I think now that was the harder subject matter we will talk about is that ice shooting of the woman. So, and I think, look, we're living in a political turmoil situation, and every day is something new happening. And I think Statistic Vigilante is exactly that, what reflects the world we're living in.
Mhm.
It's like he is the light and the shadow. He is like the Dark Knight and he is like the White Knight in a way. And but it's ambivalent and it's like it's not a movie. It's more like a rampage. It's more like like in my movies is always this struggle between there is not a clear hero.
Yeah.
He's not like he's not really like a John Wick. He is like a John Wick or Denzel Washington in The Equalizer. He is like this, but he is not so simple like this, where you always follow whatever they do. They do only everything right. No, it's not. You are question the violence. You question at one point, like, is that too much? Right. So is that fair? And I feel like when I really followed up this killing from the woman, and it's this kind of that is where we stand, and we both talked about it a long time, a lot about stuff like this. I think we are lost in the middle. The common sense people right now are lost in the middle. You have people like
Yeah.
J.D. Vance celebrating that the guy shot the woman, what is absolutely disgusting and absolutely insane. And you have people, they make now the shooter being Jack the Ripper. So, and you know, and that's, there is a huge problem to it, that there is not no normal. I listened to on the drive back from Strasbourg to Matt Walsh, right? I like Matt Walsh on a lot of things, but even if I'm not like religious or whatever, but I think that video he did today about the ICE shooting, that summarized the facts good, but then he how can you be happy about that the woman got shot? Like, see, this fucking Karen deserved it that she got shot, right? And she was a fucking Karen and she was annoying and they bullied around the ICE people and blocked the road 100%. But look, in like, let's say you're a schooled FBI agent, you would never, you would de-escalate a situation like this. And here, what I felt was the ICE agents, they escalated it up. And the guy said, bitch, after he shot her, right? So, and it's on tape, like he said, bitch, right? And then shot her. So, means you have hillbillies on the streets because they're armed and ICE agents. They lost the common sense that you cannot have a situation like this ever escalating in killing somebody, you know. And it was not that she, your turn comes in 1 second. It was not,
Yeah.
when you watch the videos, yeah, she hit him with the car, but she was standing, and she was not, it was not like she comes with 50 miles an hour at him, right? So, and he's standing there and shooting. No, it was, he was standing there blocking her. And then she moved backwards and she moved forward. And I mean, sorry, but I say, and I don't like this kind of woman, like this, you know, and her friend who's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do to the guy, right? So approaching the ICE guys and pissing them off. That is all like, I have no sympathy for this kind of what this woman did. But at the same time, if you celebrate, like, see, that's law and order, then you get shot. I think that is where I draw the line, where I feel like, no, you cannot uh, shoot somebody, like, because you're pissed off at her behaviors there. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Oh no, I hear you. I think that it's unfortunate that we live in such a hyper escalated society where people are, it's like, why can't people see it for what it is? Why does it have to be on party lines? Like the way
Yeah,
people see it, they look at the same video and they see the
yeah,
same thing, yet they get completely different things out of it based on which party that they're on. And I think that I think that more people should see this guy was not in front of the car. He was on the side of the car. And what she did, like you said, I think that she shouldn't have been fucking with the officers. I think she was playing with fire. And no matter how you want to look at it, you can look at it that way if you'd like, which I actually do agree that she shouldn't have been doing that. And I do agree that ICE officers are overly aggressive and that they're undertrained. Even if you, even if you, and I'm going to just play with this perspective because I don't agree with that the ICE officers should be there, but even if you agree that they should be there enforcing, I think that they need better training because
yes,
this guy, like you said FBI agents should be trained, blah, blah, blah. They should fucking know.
yeah.
And if de-escalation, like that was the city where they had, what was it? Wasn't it the George Floyd in that city? The or Black Lives Matter was born in that city.
There was not in
Uh,
Baltimore.
I don't know. I was reading an article that said that something happened
Where
in
was George Floyd?
that the people are sick of this sort of.
No, it was in Minneapolis.
Was it Minneapolis? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, even so.
Yeah.
they're kind of playing with fire. I think that if they want to de-escalate the situation, even if JD Vance and Trump disagree, give the people a seedling of hope. Don't just say, shut it down. It is this way before even going through a court system, before even going through any kind of process. Like, that's why people feel so, um, I guess, depressed and fed up, and just because they're not being given due process. And I'm not talking about uh
Yeah,
the
but
people
that's a
who
different
are
thing. That's the due process is a different thing. Then you would have to arrest somebody and do. In this case here, that's the
in.
same thing. When this week was everywhere on X, like, would you pardon Derek Chauvin, like the guy who killed George Floyd, right?
Oh
And
God.
there was polls the whole time, and I got a lot of responses. I always said no, I would not pardon him. He knowingly George Floyd was for 2 minutes like, I cannot breathe, I cannot breathe. He knowingly put the fucking knee on the arteria to stop the blood flow and killed him, right? So, and the
Mm,
idea is when people later say, yeah, but George Floyd was a criminal, he was stupid, he was a piece of shit. Yeah, maybe. Maybe George Floyd was for real, not like Martin Luther King, but still, you cannot. He was tied up. They had the hands behind his back tied up. You cannot, as a police officer, then use the situation to get rid of somebody and
yeah.
ignore what everybody said. He cannot breathe. Get up with your knee, and he didn't did it. So you should not get pardoned. So, and that's the thing. But at the same time, is what I mean was in the middle. Like, I completely refuse. And we had discussions where you were mad with me because I was pro Donald Trump, right? So no, but I refuse to, whatever political side it is, if I feel an injustice or an absurdity, I go against any political party. I don't care. And that's the thing what you said. I think it's so true. People are used to put the glasses on. Now I am Republican. I see everything like the Republican, the MAGA movement. Everything is good. Or we go to Venezuela, take the guy off, and we don't know what's happening to the country. Other, but we give a shit. So whatever, right? Now we're taking Greenland and we see what's happening. So like that's where I draw my lines and say
Yeah.
you cannot think like things, you don't thinking things through here. And the same with that with the whole ICE thing. I was all pro closing the border and stopping the mass migration, 100%. But then and they did it. So now you have like that influx of 7 million people, what Kamala Harris led, and we're gone. So now, if you're a good president or a good administration, now you think about it. Okay, so nobody's coming anymore in. That's good. But why we should throw now 2.5 million people out? Should we not like just pick unemployed drug gangsters, criminals, and bring them back? Right? Why we carry people out of auto, like car wash centers who are working, paying taxes, having kids in school, having a car, and arresting them with the whole family because 8 years ago they came illegal into the US. And then we have in LA and everywhere people like nobody works on the fields anymore, nobody works in the kitchen. So that is what is me where I'm so upset about is like, if people do something good for the economy and they're not criminals and they're paying taxes, even if they came illegal in, that's the moment where you can say, look, you're now legal because you put something positive here in the economy. But they grabbed, I would say, from the 2.5 million people they deported already, were 2 million people. They were completely normal, peaceful living
Yeah.
workers and
Yeah.
mothers and kids. And that's where they go overboard. And the same is, like this kind of attitude to do first collateral damage, like Team America in the movie, and then saying, "But look, like this kind of thing." And what they're not aware with Greenland, where Trump tonight said also he wants to take Greenland no matter what, is if you, without negotiations, take even if Greenland is a colony of Denmark, it's not like really Denmark. It's also not directly at Denmark, and we're all aware that it's still a colony. It's like a colony, how like India was a British colony at one point. It's like overall, you could have elections in Greenland and ask, you want to be part of Denmark? Or you want to be Greenland, like without Denmark, because I think that slavery times are kind of over. And I think you could have also the Greenland people decide what they want to do. If they want to stay on Denmark, or they want to move to the US, or they want to be just Greenland. So, and then you discuss as America, but we want to dig oil out of your country. We want the gas, but we bring jobs, we bring money. You get 50% of the profits, whatever. No, but that would be the
No,
way.
no, I hear you. I hear
Yeah, so
you.
that would be the way to handle the thing. But if you would actually enact Greenland overnight, I mean, there will be no war in Greenland, right? They're defenseless. So that's the thing. So there would be like American troops coming, ships coming, soldiers getting onto the ground, and they're saying, that's us now. We own Greenland. All the trust between Europe, the EU, and the NATO countries, they're also in the NATO, right? So it's like would be gone forever.
Hmm.
Then it would be like it's different to Venezuela. It's different. That's now Europe and the West inside. And I mean, Denmark is the most like democratic, like it's a democratic, free, rich country where people have a way higher education as in US or in Germany, the average people. So if you, without discussing with them, invade the island, that means you have no interest to keep any rules or law up. And you just say, we are stronger, we take what the fuck we want. So, and then the
Yeah.
US is the same, even worse as China or worse as Russia in that way, because they don't treat the law like, okay, we have an understanding that you cannot just what Putin tried with the Ukraine, they would do then again. And I mean, they did it before, but that's different. When they went into Iraq, they wanted to whatever kill Saddam Hussein, but they didn't wanted to keep Iraq. That's the thing. But Greenland, they go there to own it. They say it like we want to own it because there's so much rare earth and gas and oil, and we just want to take it away from you. That means like you can be a fucking bank robber and say, look, I want to own what is here in the bank. Give me all the money, then I own it. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's
Yeah,
that's
the US is on the wrong side of history with this. I agree a
yeah.
1000% with you. And I just want to say how fucking terrified I would be to be somebody from Greenland right now. Because think about it from, okay, I'm a Greenlander,
Yeah.
and some fucking dumbass redneck from the South moves in to mine oil with the intention of like fucking my daughter. Like that's what they're gonna come in. And that's what Trump wants. And that's what this is really about, is that he's like, they're white people. It's an extension of white culture. And we'll go back to what you said about why are they taking all the people out who are brown skinned, but they've done nothing wrong? It's all because of this whole bullshit that Elon Musk has said about the great white replacement, where
Yeah.
like there's not going to be enough white people born by the year 2020, whatever, and that everybody's going to be intermixed, and they must stop this from happening. So that's really what Trump's goal is. The mining and all that stuff is all kind of just the front, and the back goals are like race mixing, stopping race mixing, trying to get more white people out there. And I
Good
mean,
luck. Good luck even in America. I mean, it's bullshit, right? It's that ship is sailed already.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if I was a Greenlander, would I really find some fucking dumbass redneck from Florida sexy enough to fuck him? I'm like, give me a fucking break.
I'm checking how many people. So there are only 56,000 people in Greenland.
Terrifying.
Yeah, so that's
And
nothing.
I wonder if the U will defend them, because it's not ethical. And the US, if the US will be no better than Russia attacking the Ukraine. if they swallow up Denmark without its authority or try to intimidate. And even the Pope had a mass the other day saying that people who conquer through intimidation and violence need to stop because it should be done through diplomacy. And I agree. And I'm not even religious.
Yeah.
You know,
No, but
it's
look,
fucking
they have
ridiculous what's happening.
the official language is Greenlandic. There are major tensions between the mother language and the Danish remain. So the normal population of Greenland is not really Danish, let's say it this way, because it's a colony, right? It's like Congo was French or Algeria was French. So I think discussion should be in the UN if Greenland should be basically declared independent based on they owe nothing to Denmark. Denmark at one point invaded them, and they were like more like this Eskimos, right? So this kind of the people living in Alaska and in like this kind of nano thing in Siberia. So then that should be the first step. Then you have the perfect opportunity that these people get a lot of money because now they own all this shit there, right? And they can say, look, we give a license to Shell or a license to Chevron to drill here and to bring us some money. So all the US industry could make good offers and basically plunder out Greenland. You know, like what I mean, it's happening around the globe. The mining companies and Venezuela also will charge the drilling again. So it's like, but then at least it's not like, oh, we just take it from you and you can shut the fuck up. I mean, that's because then if you do this, you basically join forces with all the people who basically want to waive the democracy. And what I hear, like when I listened to the Mad Watch today, they said undertone on a lot of people. And as you know, I hate political correctness. I hate Vogue. I hate the gender bullshit. I hate all of this. But now the right, who is in charge in the US, has now the opinion like we cannot reasoning with these people anymore. We just have to completely dismantle them. Right. So and that's like they're there where they drop the state of law, the courts, the elections, all this shit is on the table now. You know, that they basically say, look, we came to the conclusion it's better that we are no more electing people here because you're all fucking retards and we don't want that you have something to say. You are a threat for American idea, for American freedom, and now there are no midterms.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the next step, right? And the funny thing is that we have the same kind of movement in Europe, but from the left. You have
Yeah.
the same mentality as the New York mayor. They all have that same mentality that they know it all better. They are the right, and they should own everything, like the political parties or their movement should own everything and should give it a little to you. And in a way, the left and the right, the extreme left and the extreme right, I think they want to do basically exactly the same. They want to dismantle democracy.
But we've
Also,
always said it on this show that the answer is somewhere in the middle,
yes,
right? And a lot of
yeah,
people seem to be ignoring that kind of sensibility. And I will agree with you that it's not just the extreme right um, that has problems. And I think it's the extreme left that gives moderates like a bad view, and people can't see the difference between somebody on the extreme left and somebody who just kind of like teeters between, because I I look at somebody like what a Greta Thunberg as somebody on the extreme left or something
yeah.
like that. And you know what I mean? Not all people on the left are like that. Or when I look at people on the extreme right, I think of like people in the Bible Belt of Florida, people who like beat their kids with like a wooden paddle and go to, church every day and shit like that. Like that's not normal. That's
So
not
that's the extreme religious
yeah,
thing.
exactly. That's not
What
every
is
day.
crazy. But look in Berlin. In Berlin over the Christmas time, they the Vulcan Group is a left-wing environmental left-wing terrorist group. They blowed up the power electricity, and so 55,000 Berlin people were without electricity for days till they
Oh
were able
God.
to get the. And they wrote a letter. Yeah, we were because we're using too much energy. We want to make here a point that we have to stop. Like we have to get green. The Earth goes under. So that's the Greta Thunberg extreme. And there are a lot of left-wing terrorist organizations like this, the Antifa too, where they do violent acts, but it gets sugar-coated by the
So you mean
political.
like the people who go to the museum and like put paint
Yeah,
on the
yes, the
shit?
same people, or
Yeah.
they're people that tape themselves on the road and you cannot get them off and they have a total traffic jam, nobody gets to work. They stopped doing this when the Free Gaza thing started, and they were more focused on the Free Gaza stuff. So, but the reality is that they are extremely dangerous, violent people, and they totally destroy not only the public order with shutting down traffic, but they're also like two old women were found dead in their apartments now, dead from the cold, right? So, and because I mean, it was fucking winter with -5, -6 in Berlin, and not everybody's able to go then in a hotel somewhere,
Oh,
right?
you mean
So,
because of the electricity? That's what you're
yes,
talking about.
yes. And I mean, they
Oh,
blowed it up. So they indirectly murdered people. And this kind of people, there are a lot of times, even in NGOs, they're getting paid by taxpayers' dollars, right? During, if you're on the right side, whatever, if you do one time Heil Hitler, you go to jail.
man.
So that, but that's Europe. In Europe, the left wing, violent terroristic acts getting half as prosecuted because they overall have that political opinion that they're doing the good thing, that they're doing that it's not good to blow up the electrical power plant there in one part of Berlin, but they think they fight for the good thing, like climate change, LGBTQ rights. They're fighting for the good stuff, so we don't really want to put them to jail. During the right wing people who say like. Whatever they say, they're getting very hard prison terms for whatever they do. If five skinheads beating up a Syrian refugee, they will go years in jail. If a Syrian refugee rapes a girl, or he's traumatized by, right? So he needs psychological help. That's also not okay. That's horrible wrong, and that creates more right-wing people, right? If you see this, you turn automatically political to the right because you say there's a total injustice, and I want these fucking rapists back in Syria. So and no matter what the state of law is, whatever, like fuck the state of law, like pack them in an airplane and throw them out of the airplane without a parachute. I mean that's the mentality. And if you that's I think the biggest job of governments is uh, to keep cool and to be there for all citizens, and that's not there. And that is
Yeah.
what when Matt Walsh said we are very close to a civil war, because the Tim Walz guy said he will, if the ICE doesn't stop this shit, he will bring the National Guard to get the ICE kicked out, right? So, but if you would have a situation like this, if you have federal agency and the National Guard of Minnesota or whatever, right? That's a civil war. Like that's the beginning of a civil war, because then
Yeah.
you have shootouts. That's not like here my cell phone. That it's like, okay, who shoots first? So, and that's the thing. And then you have a total massacre, and then everything is off the bed. Then everything goes to shit.
The thing they need to remember too is that the National Guard, and I don't want to take sides. I think that I don't want to, but I want to say the National Guard are trained, and I'll go back to the ICE are not so trained. I
Yeah.
mean, they say they're trained, but that's just like a recipe for disaster. That's just like asking for like it's like a match in a powder keg. Like
Yeah.
it's going to explode. And
No, but that
this
is always when you
country,
have military, when you have the military involved in
mhm,
civil policing, right? The because it's military, they're used to shoot. Right. I mean, if it's really military, let's say really soldiers who were in Iraq and everywhere, for them, this kind of, let's say, level of, okay, I have actually a machine gun and not a gun. I have a real machine gun, right? And to like, if somebody fires one bullet, there will be a massacre. So, and that's
Oh
the
yeah.
thing. Yeah, I mean, and how can they even let it come so far? And the problem is that I had the feeling with Matt Walsh that he actually looks forward that something like this happens, right? I mean, there are a lot of people in the US who basically, I think, dream from a new civil war with a completely, and then we are in this kind of um, you remember the movie Civil War? The movie Civil War
Yeah.
was kind of like, what the fuck is now happening? And then we're coming into that circle of catastrophic disaster. So
I'm just so tired of like whenever anything happens, Trump or Vance will blame the extreme left, even if it was or was not the extreme left. And I think a lot of people are just fucking we're tired of the propaganda and the spin. We're used to getting like, even though the news was somewhat tainted, at least we weren't being blatantly lied to with like propagandic bullshit. And nobody can trust them at face value. We can't even trust what the fucking um, health department anymore because of fucking Kennedy. Like, we can't trust what shots we're giving our kids. The United States has been labeled as not reliable when it comes to vaccine and health data. I don't know. It just feels like we're going down the shitter.
yeah, I mean, I looked at up the RFK this thing, what you should eat and what you should not eat. That's not a sensational wrong thing what is written there. They say no sugar and no processed foods, what everybody else would say also. It's super unhealthy, as we all know, to eat only junk food and potato chips. So that's, and then I look, and then what the only thing what he puts more up, what was like different to before, is fat, like this
The
kind of
fat,
cheese
yes.
and red meat, where everybody doctor says don't eat too much red meat. He puts that all the way up. And that could be a discussion. But he also said fruit, veggies, corn, nuts. So that's all good. There's a lot of things in that list. They're absolutely like how they should be, to be honest, right? And but um, also there, the same situation. I think RFK is doing some stuff that is common sense and makes sense, and some stuff what goes far over the edge, where you make maybe major mistakes. You don't want that everybody gets the measles. If you get the measles, you get the measles, but you don't want to basically trigger almost that everybody get the measles. And that's so easy to, like, there are a lot of vaccines that are proven, they're not unhealthy. You all got them, I got them, and I had no side effects at all. And that only happens now because the corona vaccine was shit. I mean, that's the thing, that the corona situation triggered all this movement now to basically go away from vaccines in total, and that's idiotic.
So you think that I think that that would be a shame. I mean, I will admit that Corona was kind of a shit show, but a lot of people don't really take into account that it was something that nobody really knew what the fuck was going on. Nobody knew what we were dealing with, and they were like, "We need an answer now. We need an answer now." You know what I mean? They needed it yesterday, and we
No,
kind of sped forward.
yeah, I mean, we discussed that too, right? I also there, I 100%
Yeah,
agree with you. We were all thinking the vaccine will bring us out of the shit. The
yeah.
vaccine is the way to get the shutdowns over with. The vaccine is the way to go. As vaccines were, like everybody, when you think you have a pandemic and somebody says, I made a vaccine, it works. So then what I don't go with, then a lot of people made a lot of money with the vaccine, made a lot of money with the mask, all this shit, a lot of corruption, all that stuff. But then at one point, they were not communicating the truth that the vaccine is not really, you get 2 shots and you're done for life or something. That's not really holding up. That's not really protecting the people enough for long term, etc., etc. So that's basically, it's a vaccine what works so that you don't die on corona. But it's not like a vaccine what really solves the problem long time. So corona is like the flu; it will be there. So and I think where they went then too far is all that people then thought that it was all a setup. Bill Gates on purpose did the vaccine. Like all these conspiracy theories, what happened then. And I agree with you. I think they were overwhelmed and made drastic wrong decisions. But I don't think that anybody in the political thing, including Dr. Fauci, uh, on purpose tried to enslave the people and lock them up.
There
So
are crazy people out there who have been waiting for a moment like this, though. Like, I'm just going to use this as an example of like the weird anti vax religious people who have existed for like 30 years or something. Now, I have a tattoo of a barcode on my body. It's on my arm and it's like faded. See that?
yeah,
It's
but what is
old.
it?
It's it's dumb. It's top ramen, the noodles. You know what I'm talking
Also, yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's because I was like 20 years old. I couldn't
yeah,
afford to eat food.
yeah.
And then I wanted to get the barcode tattooed on me to remember those low moments.
Where
So
you
when I
ate
was
only
able
the
to afford.
fucking ramen. Yeah, no,
But
but
anyway,
no, but that's the thing. Like, I think all. I mean,
well,
we have.
well, one day I was on the bus and a woman told me that I was going to go to hell because the government was going to scan me and be able to identify me based on the barcode. And those are the kind of people who are saying, like, um, that all shots before even COVID were a bad thing.
Yeah, no, but
Uh,
that's what I mean. Like then you have this cult thinking that they say it's all a setup to enslave us, to undermine us, to chip us, to change our
mhm.
brains. So that's where I never went this way. For me, it was like the government was overwhelmed and made major mistakes, a lot of mistakes, and then when they learned from the mistakes, they learned too late. And they also didn't really said sorry later, what was also not okay, right? So, locking you up or giving you a ticket when you don't have a mask on, walking outside and you have to pay $60 because you don't have a mask on, but you walk alone at the river. That's insane. And that's policing over the top. And that where the government should officially say sorry to their citizens about this. They never did that. Instead, they keep double downing on they made everything right. Everything was by the book, exactly how it should be. And no, it's not. We know all the blue face masks were completely senseless. They did absolutely nothing. In retrospective, the only this the big mask was actually filtering something, right? And
Yeah.
everybody had stupid face masks on the blue ones, the cheap ones, and they were doing absolutely nothing. And then
Yeah. You
so
needed C95 masks, right?
yes, but they
The
should also at one point say it like, oh, we thought that this will maybe work, but it wasn't, and then we didn't stop it. We didn't because a lot of times there was a little not conspiracy, but it was actually they didn't had enough from the other masks. So they told everybody put the blue mask on because they were the only ones available. Instead of saying, wait for the good mask, and if you have the blue mask on or not, it doesn't make the difference. So it doesn't really matter. So no, but we have a mask duty. Whatever fucking mask you put on, but you need a mask. And then people had also this kind of whatever this, like where they used the towel or whatever. And it was also bullshit. Okay, let's wrap it up. We talked a long time. I have to watch First Shift 2 and 3. And I think it was a great show today.
Yeah, guys, please like and follow us on X. Be sure to like Uwe Ball Films on X, and also on Instagram. What is it?
Instagram.
Ball Films on
Yeah,
Instagram.
Over Boll Films or Boll Films. Yeah, yeah. You find us.
It's yeah. We'll put the link in the
The
whatever
link
comments
tree or whatever.
section.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks so much. And
Take care, guys.
send the videos around everywhere. Okay, bye, bye, bye.